Good morning and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm the Director of Operations here at the Imagine America Foundation. I'm excited about today's topic, Non-Baccalaureate STEM Career Pathways, sponsored by Universal Technical Institute, or UTI. UTI is this country's leading provider of high-quality, career-focused education at 16 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 21-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 17,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation and how your students can apply for scholarships to the institutions we're talking about today to our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. But since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We're hearing from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation again is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background, so you're in great hands today. But before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of the presentation. All participants can submit questions while this presentation is in session via the Q&A or the chat feature inside of this Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, I'll then present any questions offered by the participants, and we'll address as many questions as possible and provide written responses in follow-up emails if necessary. We will have a hard close at 10:30 a.m. So, without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Lee, and good morning, everyone. I'm excited about kind of a special edition of our Imagine America webinars. We did a lot of those in the fall, and we had this one scheduled for the spring because I've got some exciting news that I'll share with you towards the end. So let's get right into the presentation. I just want to point out something that you may have seen in the news, you may have heard on the radio, whatever, is that college enrollments right now are dropping. Colleges, universities, and even at the community college level, they seem to be dropping at about a 10 to 12% clip. Forecasters are saying that's probably going to happen again next year as well, too. You might be wondering what's going on with all this. There's nothing wrong with colleges and universities. You know, I'm definitely not against them at all, but it's just students that we have today, the Gen Z kids that you all are very familiar with. As you well know, they want things now. They don't see themselves going to school for 4, 5, or 6 years. They want to get in, they want to get the skills that they need, they want to get out, and they want to start making money. They're all about making money. But you know these Gen Z kids, they're Instagrammers, they're Snapchatters, they're texters. You know, they don't email, they don't even call people, you know, they hardly talk to each other as well. And that's why I think we're seeing a drop now in the enrollment at the college university level. But yet at the same time, we're starting to see an uptick in enrollment in skilled trade schools. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the kids we're dealing with today. A survey by Stanley Black & Decker, 85% of young people value a skilled trades career, but only about 16% are likely to consider it. Now you might wonder why such a discrepancy there in numbers. Well, I have another theory. I'm full of theories today, but one of the theories is simply the fact that they don't really understand what trade skills and trade jobs involve. You know, they're all about technology, and they think that these are just like, you know, manual labor. You don't do, you know, use STEM or anything like that, and that's just not true. I don't care what it is that you're involved with in skilled trades. STEM is always going to play a role in that. So I think that's part of the problem. The other problem is the underrepresentation of women in the industry. We're finding that young women were 15% less likely to consider a skilled trades career. And why is that? It's always been a man's world, and the girls just feel like that they haven't been allowed to enter. But we're providing a solution for that, and I'll talk to you about that just a little bit later in the presentation. You know, when we think of alternatives to traditional education, we have to think in terms of, to succeed in the economy today, What are employers looking for? What is it that they need? The answer is simple. They need skills. They're looking for people that bring skills to the table. What can you do to promote that school, that company, that corporation, whatever the case may be? But there's two types of skills. There's the hard skills. Can you work on a car? Can you work on a motorcycle? Can you build a house? Can you plumb? Can you weld? Can you cut hair? All these type of skills. But the other skills are the ones that have kind of fallen off, and those are the soft skills, which are equally as important. Communication skills, for instance, the pandemic did us no favors with the young people today. It caused isolation, and we're fighting to get that back. And so it's important that students can communicate with each other, that they can communicate with their customers, not only oral but written communication. Learning how to work in a team, working together, those kind of things. Those are very important too. So you have to remember that employers are looking for skills, but remember they're looking for both types of skills. I love this slide. I'm doing a presentation tomorrow morning in Long Island, New York, and I always get a kick out of counselors when I get to this slide. And this is a slide that shows what an employer perceives of an employee and what the employee perceives of themselves when you're thinking about proficiency in certain areas. So, for instance, the first one, professionalism, work ethic. The employer saw the employee at a 42.5% proficiency. Yet the employees saw themselves at almost 90%. Huge difference. Then oral and written communications. I was just talking about this. The employer saw 41.6% proficiency. The employees saw themselves at almost 80%. You might look at those and say, well, why is there such a difference there? And I have another theory for you. You think about it when kids are young and they're involved in activities, sports, anything like that, nobody loses. Everybody gets a medal, a trophy, a ribbon. Nobody walks away empty-handed. We don't teach kids how to fail. And so then when we get them prepared to go into the workforce, it's brutal. And all of a sudden, reality hits them. My message to you is, as educators, it's okay for kids to fail. We don't have to have everybody succeed in everything they do. It's okay to be able to look at a kid and say, hey, this just isn't what we're looking for. This is, you can do better than this. We don't have to be mean about it, but at the same time, we need to let kids know that no, it's not all right. That that maybe you want to look into another area, something like that. We just refuse to let kids fail, and then when they get into a position of their career pathway, and they fail that failure or they meet that failure, they don't know how to handle it. And all of you on this call, you've had a failure once or twice in your life. I know I have too. But you learn from it. It's just as important as the successes. So it's okay, once again, for kids to learn to fail. This statistic is really startling. Almost half of the college graduates walking around on the face of the earth today have a college degree they're not using. They didn't even need it. Yet they put in the time, the energy, and the money for that degree. We look at, I always tell the story about my Uber driver in Tennessee. I was talking to her. She'd just gotten her master's degree 6 months before that. And she thought it was going to give her a promotion. So I was going to make her more money, all that. She's an Uber driver. I asked why. She said, well, I can control my time and my money by being an Uber driver. So there's an Uber driver with a master's degree. She didn't even need it, but she's got it. And then her boyfriend has a food truck with a bachelor's degree. But together they make about $110,000 a year. So not bad. But there's a great example of bachelor's degrees that they didn't need or they're not using. Why consider post-secondary trade school? The one stigma that we still have to overcome is the fact that trade schools are still looked at as the backup plan or plan B, as we see on the screen, a second-rate education. You have to remember that your students, some of your students, this is their plan A. This is what they want to do. This is what they've aspired to become. Just as important as the student that you have that wants to be a doctor, wants to be a lawyer, wants to be a teacher, wants to be an engineer, whatever the case may be, that's what they want to do. That's their plan A. Well, these guys have their plan A's too. I've actually walked into career fairs where all of the trade schools were put in the back corner. It was like we're hidden back there. Like there's some taboo about it. Nothing. You've got kids that this is what they want to do, and so we have to treat it that way. It's also important for their parents too. You're always trying to get buy-in from the parents. Well, when you treat their student like this is something that's not really accepted or wanted, that sends a bad message to them well too as parents. So make sure that you're celebrating all of your students' successes and all your students' aspirations, that this is what they want to be. When you do your awards ceremonies and things, make sure you're celebrating these kids just as much as you are the kids that are going off to the military or kids that are going off to the prestigious Ivy League school or wherever it is that they might be going. That's just as important too. When you look at this screen, there's one word that should stand out on that screen. That's the word essential. When you look at all these are not essential because these are all the areas we teach in, because we do. But these are all essential because think of your life without any of them in it. Now, you might look at a couple on there and you say, avionics technician, is that really important to me? May not be to you, but it's sure important to me because I'm going to go get on an airplane here in about 4 hours and fly out to Long Island. And so that's very important to me. Or you might say a plumber, is that really essential? Well, not until the toilet stool won't flush. Then all of a sudden it's very essential to you. So all of these things are important. Remember, these were essential before the pandemic. They were essential during the pandemic. They are still essential after the pandemic and will remain essential. And these are where career opportunities exist in all of these areas. So it's very important to understand how important these are to all of us in our daily lives. And then on top of that, when you look at this list again, you look at the different areas. These are all areas that we teach in naturally, but one of the things that we do is we do workshops in high schools all over the country. We go into over 10,000 high schools nationwide every year and talk to students. Why? We're wanting to show them what is out there available to them. They don't even know. You all realize that by 2030, 80% of the careers that will be available then don't exist now. You might say, wow, that's unbelievable. But think about the last 10 years and how much it's changed. And it continues to change. But you might look on here on this thing, non-destructive testing. You might look at that and go, what is that? I never even heard of that. What could that possibly be? And, I didn't know either till we acquired MIET. But, when you have a hurricane, when you have a flood, when you have a tornado, an earthquake, these buildings have to be tested to see if you can go back in, if they're safe to enter. Bridges that we have all over the country. I used to think, I drive across a bridge, it didn't fall in. Hey, that's a pretty good day. But in reality, these bridges have to be tested to make sure that they are safe for all the cars and trucks and motorcycles that go over them on a daily basis. And that's a career opportunity. Another one, CNC machining. I'll bet many of your students and maybe many of you don't even know what CNC stands for. Computer numerical control. That's how parts are made for machines or for cars, whatever. 3D printing. That's all part of CNC machining. So these are career pathways that students don't even know exist. So that's why we want to go in and talk to students about what is out there. They may not even know something that might pique their interest if they learn more about it. So that's why it's important for students to understand, what is available to them out there. Now, I told you earlier, to change gears just a little bit, we're trying to get more women involved in STEM. So last year, we got involved in a program that's Unite Worldwide. We've since broken off and formed our own group, Women in STEM, that we are spreading nationwide once again. Last year, what we did is we started hosting Women in STEM skilled trades conferences. We hosted 8 of them. We are very proud of the result. We had no idea. We were hoping we would get maybe 30, 40, maybe 50 girls to one of these events. We had 8 events, had over 1,000 high school girls attend. I think our highest one was 350. We featured them on social media. We even conducted a virtual STEM career for our STEM workshop for those people that aren't close to a campus. Had over 200 high school girls and 8 high schools participated in that virtual event. So it's just been overwhelming to see the reaction to this. Our one in Mooresville, North Carolina, we host them in Texas as well too, but the one in Mooresville, North Carolina we're especially proud of because that helped us to get the ACCSC, which is our accrediting body, get our community service, where we're the only school in the country to be honored with that award. So we were very proud of that. This is an example of what takes place. You look in the upper right-hand corner, you see those girls, they're actually participating in a pit crew class that we teach at NASCAR Tech. You know, if you watch a race, you see the pit crew where the cars come in, they have to change the tires on stuff. That's what these girls are doing. Don't you know that that morning they woke up not having a clue that they were going to go in and be changing tires on a race car, simulated race car like that. So that's what we want to do, is expose girls to what is out there available to them, because you don't know what you don't know. You know, the mantra that we love to follow is you can't be what you can't see. These girls have no role models to look up to, and that's sad. You know, but think about it yourself. How many times have you seen a woman auto tech or a diesel tech? How many times have you seen a woman welder or a woman carpenter? You see road crew on the side of the road working on highways and bridges. How many women do you see in there? And if you do see one, it's like, wow, look at that! Isn't that special? They got a woman working for them. It shouldn't be it should be reality that these kids, that these girls are able to do these things. They're very capable. One of the things that we do at every one of our events is we have influencers. These are women in STEM. Facilitator, you know, Kirsten Labonte, president and founder of Breaking Limits, Sophie Fox of Women in Wheels, Brooke Ulrich with Home Depot and a UTI graduate, Madison Conrad and Jennifer Lefevre, both with Rouse Yates Engines. You know, huge corporations and companies, but these women are heading these up. And it's important for these girls to have these women to talk to, because they're going to ask them questions like, hey, how did you do it? Were you scared? What did your parents think? Did people make fun of you? Because these are questions that these girls are worried about when they want to go into a STEM career like this. So it's very reassuring to them. The best part is, though, at the end, we have them fill out cards. And this one young lady put, I like watching cars go fast, but wow, today I couldn't stop smiling. I was intrigued with everything. I had no idea how I would start a job in this career. Now I can think is to apply here after high school. Here's a young lady that had no clue. She had this burning desire inside of her, but she didn't know how to unleash it. And by coming to one of our events, she was able to see firsthand what takes place. I mean, we put these girls on welding simulators, things that they had no clue that they could even do this stuff. And here they are doing it. So it's been very rewarding. And we're you know, our goal is to try to raise our student population of females in our schools, and because the country needs the technicians, you know, and we've got to find more areas where we can pull these technicians from. And so women has been very underrepresented, and so we feel like that we can do it there. I pulled this up. You know, we have over 35 industry relationships. I'm not pulling this up to brag, although I'm kind of bragging because we're the only school that can say this, so we have all these. But why I bring this up is because if you're not getting industry involved in your school, that's a big miss for you. You need to take advantage of that. Industry wants to help you. Plus, they have something you don't have: money. They can help you, and, you know, with your school programs. When you have a career fair, notice I didn't say college fair, I said career fair. That's important. Have them in there as well too. They want to come in. Why are they so anxious to help you? Because they're looking for future employees down the road. So they want to help you any way they possibly can. We use industry all the time. We have industry days. We invite counselors and students, and we invite their parents to come in, you know, so they can see what a dealership is really like. You know, it's just a great way to get to show how industry and education go together. So if you're not doing that, please try to take advantage of that if you possibly can. One of the things we're very proud of, I know all of you have no problem getting students to fill out scholarships. You know, we don't either. I say that very facetiously because we do. Kids, for some reason, do not want to fill out scholarships. But one of the things that we found is our TRIP program, Tuition Reimbursement Incentive Program. We have over 5,000 employers across the country that offer these packages to students upon graduation. And these are important because they will help pay off their student loans. They'll help to relocate them. They'll help them with tools, all these things, because they need technicians so bad, they're willing to invest in them. Now, there's a catch. you've got to be marketable. You've got to be employable. I mean, they're looking for students that have a good attendance percentage. My gosh, if you only went to school 70% of the time, that's kind of sending a message. You may only come to work 70% of the time. And so they're looking for students that have a high attendance rate, that have good grades, that have good professionalism, a good work ethic. That's what they want. But boy, the rewards are outstanding. And I believe this is one of the reasons why our graduation rate is so high is because of this tuition reimbursement program that we have. I mean, we have packages up to $50,000 that are offered by our employers to help students, to be debt free when they start their new career. These are locations all across the country. We're very proud of our newest two campuses in Austin and in Miramar. In fact, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about with our Austin campus. Just opened up, less than a year ago, and we're going to have our grand opening on March the 7th. So I wanted to bring that up to all of you that we're having a special registration and I guess a reception for school counselors in the Austin area or anywhere in Texas you want to come or anywhere in the country if you want to come. It'll start on March the 7th. It'll start at 4:30. We're going to have all kinds of food. We'll have beer and wine there, so you can come relax after the school day. We'll be having all kinds of different kinds of food. We'll have our ceremony. We'll have a few speakers there as well. So Lee, I think, is going to share that with you later on. There is a QR code that you can RSVP to come, but we'd love to have all of you come. It's a great opportunity to see a UTI campus, and we know what a huge role that school counselors play in our success. So it's just a small gesture on our part to want to invite all of you, as many of you that can come as possible. We're really looking forward to it. So please try to attend. But these are our campuses all over the country where our campuses are located. So why UTI? Well, we have the non-baccalaureate opportunities, active project-based learning by doing. Emphasis on professionalism, as I mentioned earlier, very important. We give the students shirts to wear. We expect them to wear them in class because they're going to have to wear those when they're on the job. The history of graduate success, as I told you, earlier about we're very proud of our graduation rate, and we show off our past graduates. That's our referrals, you might say. When you look up online when you're checking out a product or whatever, that's our referrals, is our graduates. We have over 220,000 graduates nationwide, and that number continues to grow. Our graduation rate consistently hovers, depending upon the campus, in the middle upper 60% rate. So we're very proud of that. Our placement rate, we say we place 4 out of 5 of our graduates. Many of our programs have a higher graduation or higher placement rate than that. We are Title IV funded, so that means that your students will fill out a FAFSA to see if they qualify for financial aid, and then we pair them up with a financial aid advisor to help put together a package for that student. Remember, you can't just come to UTI. You have to be invited. We do that through a personal interview with the student and their family to make sure they understand everything that's coming up, what's going to be expected of them, what they can expect from us. We offer over $15 million in scholarships and grants. We even have housing grants because we do offer housing. We have relocation grants to help students to get started. We try every way we can to make students successful. And then our national presence, I showed you that earlier, and our industry relationships. So we're very proud of those things as well. This is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any comments or questions, or if you have any questions about the grand opening coming up on March 7th. By all means, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you out to get you registered for that. Follow me on Instagram, Steve Coyle 2793. Follow me, I'll follow you back. I promise you. I'm trying to develop a huge following of school counselors across the country. And then there's my phone number. So feel free to text me or call me or carrier pigeon, whatever it is that you all use. But I always like to end and say that, success isn't measured by how much money you have, how popular you are. No, success is measured by whether or not you have a QR code. And I've got one right there. So please feel free to take a picture of that as well, too. If you want to reach out to me, I'd love to hear from you. I know you have a busy day. Every day is busy for you. So I thank you for your time and spending a little bit of time with me today. And I certainly hope that some of you can come by our Austin campus and visit. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good luck for the rest of the school year.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Dr. Coyle. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our presentation, exactly on time too. So great time, Dr. Coyle. Okay, so first question, this person wants to know first, can you reiterate your accreditation?
Yes, the ACCSSC. That's the accrediting body for career colleges and schools.
Great. Okay, so you're nationally accredited.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question is there housing options available for students, and are there GPA requirements to get into UTI?
Yes, we do have housing at every campus except for our campus in Bloomfield. And these are not dorms, they are apartments, but they're apartments leased by us. So it's only our students. So we have students staying with other students. And as I said, we have grants to help students with, with housing. And we set up payment plans for them and all those things too. Now, as far as GPA requirements, no, we don't have any. We don't require SAT or ACT scores either. We base it on that personal interview. The really reason why we do that is because many of our students are hands-on learners. And so when you look at their transcript, it's going to be B, C, D, D, C. Then you see A. Well, that's their shop classes. That's their career classes they're going to, because that's how they're wired. So we don't put requirements there, but that personal interview is very important.
All right, great. The next question, we get this one all the time. It has to do with comparisons to community college programs and the cost. Could you go over a little bit about how Universal Technical Institute is different than a community college?
Sure, you're right, Lee. We get this question all the time, and it's a great question. It's a fair question. We are not a community college. Don't pretend to be. Don't want to be. All right. Community colleges have their niche. We have our niche. So those are very important. The basic differences between us and a community college, there's three. One is the time you're going to be in school. You're going to be at the community college around 2 to 3 years. Our school, you're going to be about a year, give or take, depending on the program. So right there is one huge difference. Difference number two is our alliances with the manufacturers. Yeah, community colleges may have one, they may have two, at best. We have 37. I mean, if you want to be a BMW technician or a Mercedes-Benz technician, we're the place you need to be, and very focused on that too. At community college, you're going to take general ed classes, all that kind of thing. You're not going to do that at UTI. We don't do Greek mythology, 20th century world literature. And then finally, as I just talked about, the trip opportunities. Everybody talks about, the community college is so much cheaper and all that. Yeah, you're right. It is. There's many states, just like in Texas, where they can go to school for 2 years free. The graduation rate of community college is about 28%. About a third of what ours is. And it's just, it's not working. But with the trip employers, that is working. Where the students can have their student loans paid off. They can have money for tools and all those things. Those are huge too. So that's really the three biggest differences right there.
All right, great. Thank you. We are now going to close this session, but just a few house cleaning items here. Number one, we've recorded this session and we'll be forwarding this to all of the registrants tomorrow morning. We also will be placing this session on our website, so you can visit the website to download this. There is a follow-up survey when you leave this meeting, if you wouldn't mind providing us with a little bit of feedback. It's only 4 questions long and really shouldn't take you very much time, but any feedback you could provide would be very appreciated as we do presentations like this all over the country. Before closing, I just want to thank all of our participants for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing with us today's presentation and encourage you to contact him directly with any future questions that you may have. On behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Dr. Coyle and myself, I want to thank you and wish you a great rest of your day. Goodbye.